Hello viewers, welcome back to my channel. Here is Dr. Syed Adnan Athar Bukhari. Today we are going to discuss a very important and significant topic, that is the 27th Amendment to the Constitution of Pakistan. This constitutional amendment is very significant because it brings about three major changes into the political, constitutional, judicial and military setups in Pakistan. Last month, in November 2025, this constitutional amendment was passed through the parliament and it was approved by the President of Pakistan. And it is important and significant to assess that what are these three major changes that this constitutional amendment has brought. First of all, it basically brings about the first major changes into the judicial setup in Pakistan by establishing a new constitutional court that is known as the Federal Constitutional Court (FCC). And the second is that it provides immunities to some of the key officials to the government of Pakistan. And third is it invokes certain restructuring of the military and armed forces of Pakistan. So we try to assess these three major changes one by one. Importantly, Pakistan's constitution is a semi-rigid constitution, and to bring a constitutional amendment, it requires a two-third majority of the parliament that consists of the National Assembly and Senate. So, for passing a amendment into the Constitution of Pakistan, it requires around 224 out of 336 members assembly at the National Assembly, and also it requires 64 votes out of 96 member Senate to bring a constitutional amendment. So, if you talk about the 27th Amendment, for the 27th Amendment, the Parliament at the National Assembly, they passed this 27th Amendment by 234 votes in favor, and at the Senate, there were 64 votes that were casted to bring this constitutional amendment. And once this constitutional amendment was passed, it was also assented by the President of Pakistan, and it was enacted on November 13, 2025. Important thing is that to select the judges at the higher judiciary, unlike the previous model where the Judicial Commission of Pakistan basically recommends the appointment of the judges. Now, the Chief Justice and all the judges of the Federal Constitutional Court would be handpicked by the Prime Minister and the President of Pakistan and shall remain in the office at the age of 68 years. And there is no stated criteria for the selection of these judges. In future, the Judicial Commission of Pakistan, which basically selects the judges at the higher judiciary, now basically its composition is of the 13 members. Now there will be only five members that will be from the judiciary or judges, and all the other members will be from the executive. This executive nominated Judicial Commission of Pakistan does not only have this power to select the judges, but also they has also got a power to transfer, judges from one particular high court to another high court, as per the amendment into the article number 200. If a judge does not accept the orders of the transfer, they will undergo disciplinary proceedings which are not public before the Supreme Judicial Council, consisting of the executive appointed judges, and may be removed for misconduct. Importantly, there is no procedure or there is no basis on which judges from one particular high court will be transferred to another high court. Justice Aminuddin Khan has sworn in as the first Chief Justice of the newly established Federal Constitutional Court on 14th November 2025, a day after the 27th Amendment was enacted into the law. His appointment was made by the President of Pakistan as per the Clause 3 of the Article number 175A read with the article number 175C of the Constitution. Meanwhile, the President of Pakistan, after this appointment of the Chief Justice at the Federal Constitutional Court, there were six other judges that were also appointed into the newly established FCC. Amongst them, they are basically Justice Sayyid Hassan Azhar Rizvi, Justice Amir Farooq, Justice Ali Bakr Najfi, Justice K.K. Agha, and Justice Rozi Khan Barich. And Justice Arshad Hussain Shah has also been appointed into the newly established court of the Federal Constitutional Court. While now we see that the initial strength of the Federal Constitutional Court will be determined by the President of Pakistan, but if there need be arise for amending the numbers of the judges at the FCC, a new law will be established to bring about the changes into the numbers of the Federal Constitutional Court. Now we analyze the rationale behind the creation of this particular court, the FCC, why there was a need that was felt to establish a new court. So now the proponents and also from the government point of view, this establishment of a new constitutional court was necessary because it will help to clear out the backlog at the higher judiciary at the Supreme Court level, because all the matters related to the constitution will be dealt and they will be adjudicated at the FCC, and all the matters related to the criminal and civil matters will be held and heard at the Supreme Court. So now the backlog that is basically held at the higher judiciary at the Supreme Court, for example, if we talk about the cases that are pending at the Supreme Court, they were around more than 56,000 cases that are pending at the Supreme Court as of October 2025. So now this new constitutional court basically will try to address and resolve these particular cases and a huge backlog that has been established. The second is that it will ensure a timely adjudication of the cases, and the third is that it will strengthen the judicial independence and credibility. The proponents of this particular constitutional amendment believe that this amendment or the creation of a new court and judicial reforms will check the growing powers of the superior judiciary that might have stepped out of its constitutional role. During the legislation process, there was a question that who will feather the cap of the Chief Justice of Pakistan, and through a constitutional amendment, this was decided that the incumbent Chief Justice Yahya Afridi will retain the title of the Chief Justice of Pakistan, but after his retirement, any of the senior most judges, either from the FCC or the Supreme Court, will be the Chief Justice of Pakistan. And it will, the Chief Justice of Pakistan will be the senior most amongst two of these, courts, either the FCC or the Supreme Court. Now, if we talk about the critics who basically believe that, after the 26th and the 27th Amendments, uh, there has been a limit or restrictions into the independence of the judiciary. And now, once these amendments, 26th and the 27th Amendment, have taken place, now the judicial independence and the constitutional role of the superior judiciary has been curtailed into the favor of the executive. Importantly, there are two judges of the Supreme Court, Justice Mansoor Ali Shah and Justice Athar Minullah, who have also resigned in protest of these particular 27th Amendment, and they said that it was the complete judicial capture and constitutional distortion in the wake of the 27th Amendment. So another criticism also stems from the fact that this constitutional amendment has been brought by a parliament that is the unrepresented of the polity. Now, the second major development that has taken place into the Constitution of Pakistan is basically regarding the immunities or exemptions to the some of the officials of Pakistan. So, by amending Article number 248, so Article number 243.7 and 243.9 of the Constitution of Pakistan, amendments have been made to grant the lifetime immunity from the arrest and all criminal and civil proceedings to the President and anyone holding the ranks of the Field Marshal, Admiral of the Fleet, and the Marshal of the Air Force. So now these officials, the President and the top military commanders of Pakistan, they will have the lifetime immunity as per the amendments that have taken place. Now, if we talk about the third major development that has taken place as a consequence of the 27th Amendment, this is basically the restructuring of the armed forces of Pakistan. Now, it is very significant because, as per the revisions that are made into the Article number 243 of the Constitution, a new top apex military post has been created that is named as the Chief of the Defense Forces (CDF). This Chief of the Defense Forces will be retained by the incumbent Chief of the Army Staff, the Field Marshal Syed Asim Munir, and he will be heading all the military services, including the Army, Navy, and Air Force. So this is very important that this amendment has been brought because of the evolving security situation that has taken place in the last 5 to 6 months, particularly after the May 2025 war with India. Now, once we see this multi-domain operations and multi-domain war, now this is very important to have this strategic planning, jointness of the operation and integration of the services, and therefore this amendment was brought to have this integrated kind of the operations within one central command under the Chief of the Defense Forces. Importantly, once this new space for the Chief of Defense Forces has been established, another post that existed earlier, that was the Chairman Joint Chief of Staff, was this particular post was abolished by amending the Constitution of Pakistan. Also, the Field Marshal has been empowered to retain his rank, privileges, and uniform for life. Now, if we look at the evolution of higher defense organization and how the structuring of the armed forces were there in the earlier phases. So, since creation of Pakistan in 1947, the post of the commander in chief was there, and it was held by the army chief, and he was in charge of all the affairs of the tri services, army, navy, and air force. This position of the commander in chief was there until early 1970s, and in 1976 a new structuring of the armed forces of Pakistan was made by Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. Bhutto government basically established a new position and structure that was basically the uh, Joint Staff Headquarters, GS Headquarters, as the major restructuring at the armed forces. And this GS Headquarters was held by the Chairman, Joint Chief of Staff Committee, that was to coordinate between the three services. This post of the Chairman, Joint Chief of Staff Committee and GS Headquarters was established in 1976. The Chairman, Joint Chief of Staff Committee would be appointed on the rotation basis. The Chairman, Joint Chief of Staff Committee was to coordinate planning, lead military diplomacy, and also oversee nuclear policy that was formalized in 2010 National Command Authority Act. Now, after the 27th Amendment, the post of the Chairman, Joint Chief of Staff Committee has been abolished, and now the position of the Chief of Defense Forces has been established that will lead the war planning, operations, force development, procurement, and he will serve as the principal military advisor to the Prime Minister. The centralization of the CDF headquarters streamlines war planning, operations, and resource allocation across the land, sea, air, and missile forces. While the three services have been integrated and given into the central command of the CDF, uh, you know, the operational command and the training and administration and autonomy of the services will be held by the Army, Air Force, and Navy. This has been also reflected in the inaugural speech of the General Asim Munir when he said that the autonomy of the operational level and also at the training and administration level will be maintained by the respective services. Importantly, on December 4, 2025, the appointment of the first Chief of the Defense Forces was made, and General Asim Munir, the Field Marshal, has been appointed as the first Chief of the Defense Forces. He also received the Tri Services Guard of Honor on December 8, 2025, and in his inaugural speech, the CDF hailed the newly instituted CDF headquarters as the historic, stating that this will better integrate and synergize the three armed services, the Army, Navy, and Air Force, to keep pace with the dynamics of the future threats and new aspects of the war. The CDF also highlighted emerging spheres in warfare such as cyberspace, the electromagnetic spectrum, outer space information operations, artificial intelligence, and quantum computing, which Pakistan needs to keep up with. Pakistan is not only the first country to introduce this centralization of the command structure. This integration of the services has been established across different countries in the world. And if we look at the list, there is this position of the Chief of Defense that has been established at different NATO countries and also other countries in the world. As part of the restructuring of the armed forces of Pakistan, there has been another important development. That is the establishment of the National Strategic Command. That is basically a position or maybe an office that is basically to overlook on the nuclear affairs, and this will be held by the Commander National Strategic Command. That will be a four-star general from Army. Now, this is very important because earlier it was the chairman, Joint Chief of Staff Committee, that had this inter-services coordination across three services, the force structure and the strategic commands at the three services. And now, once this new post has been established of the Commander, National Strategic Force Command, so he will have the oversee these nuclear affairs. Commander National Strategic Command will directly report to the Chief of Army Staff and Chief of Defense Forces. So, looking at this particular structural domain, it is important to identify that why these kinds of the changes have been taken because of the evolving situation, because of the multi-domain operations, and the evolving threats across the region and also into the world. It is important that these changes were made. For example, by consolidating operational planning, force development, and procurement under the COAS, CDF, and the CDF headquarters, the new structure eliminates the inter services delays and enables faster decision making. Previously, each service operated its own planning and acquisition cycles, often leading to the duplication, misalignment, and slow response to the emerging threats. Now, with the centralized CDF headquarters, joint requirements can be prioritized, resource allocated swiftly, and procurement streamlined to meet urgent operational needs. This is especially critical as Pakistan faces time sensitive strategic pressures following two crises with India during the last 6 years, and particularly after the May 2025 war with India. Given that this constitutional amendment was necessary and the restructuring of the armed forces was necessary, but there is certain criticism that stem from certain quarters. And one of the major criticism is that through this particular amendment and restructuring of the armed forces of Pakistan, this constitutional amendment cements the army's supremacy across the joint military affairs. Why there is this criticism? Because of the three reasons. The first, that is basically the abolition of the post of the chairman, Joint Chief of Staff Committee. This was basically a post that was there to have the inter-coordination and also have the neutral inter-services bridge that has been abolished. The second is that Chief of the Defense Forces, this post will be held by the Army, and also the Commander National Strategic Force Command will be also from the Army. So it is said that the country's nuclear posture could tilt heavily toward the land based forces. Given this situation, there were certain suggestions that were particularly given by Halima Sadia and Ali Mustafa in an article, and they have suggested four recommendations as part of their restructuring and reforms into the military structures. For example, Pakistan should rotate the chief of the defense force position post between the army, navy, and the air force. Second, there is a suggestion that Islamabad should amend the National Command Authority Act promptly, clarifying the relationship between the critical players such as the Chief of Defense Forces, the Commander National Strategic Command, SPD Director General, and Prime Minister would prevent legal and operational confusion. Third, Pakistan should invest in joint command education. The country's National Defense University and staff colleges should build pathways for officers across services to train in nuclear planning, crisis management, and strategic communication. And the fourth is Pakistan should retain a joint services consultative platform, perhaps chaired by the Commander National Strategic Command or SPD Director General, to preserve inter service dialogue on doctrine and procurement. By concluding, we see that the implications of the 27th Amendment are far reaching into the political, military, and judicial setups in Pakistan. The proponents of the 27th Amendment see these changes as necessary to bring judicial, political, and the military restructuring of the armed forces of Pakistan, but there are certain critics who see this 27th Amendment differently. I thank you very much.